Hello, viewers. Welcome to the Oxymoron Show, a show that talks about the seemingly positivities in misconstrued negativities. All our discuss here on the show is strictly relationship based. My name is Kalista Wajide and I'm your host. And here with me is Mr. Kayode Samuel, who has a wealth of experience in relationship. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Kalista.
So our topic for today is the speaking silence.
Yeah.
The speaking silence. I know you all are wondering what that means. Hold that thought. Let Mr. Kayode here enunciate further on this oxymoron. So, Mr. Kayode, what's your take on the speaking silence in every relationship?
Yeah, thank you, Kalista, for first and foremost inviting me here for this show.
Welcome.
I over time, studies have shown that silence is one of the most powerful tools of communication. In communication we have the verbal and then the non-verbal. The non-verbal, you have the pitch, you have the tone, you have the intonation, you have the eye contact, you have the body language, you have the gesticulations, then the verbal, which is the literal speaking that we have. So silence is also a form of communication. And in this regard, what we're trying to say basically is the fact that you're trying to deploy the tactics of silence, as a form of communication during hazardous situations, especially when you're having a similar misunderstanding with someone. It's one of the weapons that you use to really curb the heat or the expected heat that you would have ordinarily generated. So speaking silence in regards to relationship, I'm just going to start with a story. This story is about, a lady who went to a herbalist. She went to the herbalist and then told the herbalist that she had a very toxic, relationship with her husband and then needed something to use to quench the constant fuse between her and her husband. So she went to the herbalist and she told the herbalist, this is what is happening in my relationship, blah blah blah. She said all of that, and then the herbalist said, okay, I've heard you, I'm going to give you something you're going to be using for your relationship. So whenever your husband is coming with something or is throwing tantrums at you, all you need to do is to take the substance, put it in your mouth, and don't say a word. Don't swallow the substance. So the herbalist gave her a bottle and told her that whenever the husband is trying to throw tantrums like he used to, she should just go inside, take the bottle, have a cup, put it in her mouth, and then when the thing is dying down, then she could go back and throw it away. Under no circumstance should she swallow the substance because it would lead to death. All of these things or instructions she heeded to, and it worked. Over time, she discovered that the whole toxic relationship started becoming something more pleasant, something more, because she gave that gesture or that vibe or that energy to her husband, So after a while, she went back to the herbalist to thank the herbalist that, my relationship is working well now. Everything is moving well for me, And then the herbalist now said, so anytime the guy tried to do something, you went in and then you got this thing in your mouth? She said yes. And then afterwards you threw it away? She said yes. And nothing happened, and now you have a very suitable, relationship? She said yes. Okay. Now let me tell you, the herbalist now looked at her and said, do you know what I gave to you? She said no. He said, I give you water.
Wow.
Yes.
What a twist. I never saw that coming.
Yes.
Water.
And then he now further went and said, because our mouth is always the catalyst for problems in our homes or in our relationship, because you always discover that by the time you deploy the activity of silence, now nothing is cast in concrete. The first thing I said is that one of the most powerful tool of communication is silence, because it gives you the space to listen and know exactly what to say. Somebody taught me something and he said, whenever someone makes you angry, before you respond or you react, count 1 to 100. You'll discover that the period of silence between 1 and 100, whatever you were meant to say initially you won't say it at the
Say it.
end of 100
Yeah.
because it will be something else.
Yes.
You know, so I have deployed that right now because if someone gets me angry, the first thing I do is inside, I just start counting 1, 2, 3, 4.
200.
By the time I get to 60, I'm even wearied. I'm tired. So I don't even have the energy to even reply you.
Yeah.
So it gives me enough space. That period of silence gives me enough space to think and know the actual response that situation warrants.
Yeah.
That's why we say speak in silence. This silence is the type of silence that communicates. You know, so when your spouse or your boyfriend or your husband, your wife is talking to you, at that point, when two people are in an argument, it is wrong for both of you to be on the same page. So one needs to understand the energy that I need to throw to bring down this whole mishap or this whole problem. So whatever you need to do at that point is to keep quiet, relax, sit back, and watch carefully to know the right thing to say to the person at the right time. So speaking silence is just a kind of communication that you deploy when you are having a heated argument. And that silence speaks volumes to the person. And then you also need to understudy that if the person demands silence, you give that energy. If the person you're speaking to doesn't like the energy of silence, also study to know what is appropriate to be said in this instance. And then you can also speak. But that moment of studying is also a period of silence.
Okay.
You get silent,
Yeah.
think, and know what to
say.
To reply.
So, sir, I have a question based on the story you just told us.
Yeah.
The speaking silence of a thing, is it gender-based or is applicable to all genders?
Well, Kalista, that's a very wonderful question. You know, the whatever has been said today, like I said, the first thing is that nothing is cast in concrete.
Yeah.
Then secondly, nothing is gender-based. You know, it's unfortunate from this part of the world that we are too egocentric as men, you know, and then we always want to be the lead, and then the best forms of leaders are followers, you know. So this means to say that there is nothing that says that the man should not listen when his wife is talking, you know, because I've always come to understand that positive and negative will only produce results. But when you have a positive and you have another positive on the other hand, you just have an explosion. So what we are trying to deploy is that if you know that, because no one has the monopoly of anger. As much as I can get angry, my wife or my spouse can equally get angry. She's got emotions.
Yeah.
She's got blood running through her veins. So no one has the monopoly of anger. So all you need to do is, at whatever point either of the spouse gets angry, one should take the position of silence and listen.
Exactly.
So it's not dependent on who is speaking. I mean, it's not dependent on who is angry. If I'm the man angry, I expect she takes some time, listen to me. If she's the one unpleasant about certain things, I expect that I will be quiet, you know, or it's expected that I will be quiet in the conversation and listen to your pleas. And then when I need to know areas where I need to apologize, then I apologize. When I need to know areas where I need to make amends, I know I need to make amends. And if there are areas you misconstrue things, all I need to be quiet and then give you further explanations so that you would have a clear picture than you have. Do you understand what I'm talking about? So this thing has nothing to do with gender. Okay. Either the male or the female, the boy or the girl, anyone in a relationship, you know. One thing that I've come to realize is that a whole lot of people who are in relationships today are just boys. You know, we don't really have men in relationship. And the Bible says, sorry, I'm quoting the Bible now because I'm a pastor.
Sure.
The Bible says that for this reason shall a man, you know, it was very strategic. Shall a man leave his father and his mother? That alone depicts maturity from the perspective of the man. So you only leave your parents when you are a man. And it is expected that you deploy the attributes, the character, the disposition of a man in a relationship. Who is a man? A man is a leader.
Yeah.
A man is a follower. A man is a listener. A man is inclusive. You don't just make decisions all by yourself, with yourself, for yourself, in yourself. You make decisions because you have a partner.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So all of this thing, they call it the principle of inclusion. You know, so if you're in a relationship, you just know that it is no longer I, but we. And anything that must happen has to do with the both parties.
Yeah.
If she's not convenient with it, I have to see ways where I can make her understand. Not that I have to impose and say, okay, I am the man. I used to tell people that the moment you start telling yourself or start telling your spouse, you are the man, then you've lost your home.
Yes.
You've lost it. Because leadership doesn't just come, you earn it. Your wife will understand that this is the man in the house, or your spouse understands that this is the man in the house. Based on the things, on the tenets of principles that you've laid down by yourself and that you're following, and she sees that you're following them.
Whoa. Wow. So, viewers, you've heard it all from Mr. Kayode here. With such expanse of knowledge he's dished out. So to catch more exciting episodes, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Choice_Lucent TV. And I'm your girl, Kalista Mwajide, signing out.